And Danny Coe back with you at the American Racing Custom Wheel 250 in Lucerne Valley, California. We're taking a look at the start line down there. And on the start line, here is Steve Kelly ready to pull up to the green flag and start today's race. And behind him, Larry Ragland. They will be going out nose to tail in this one-at-a-time starting order. Now, Danny, tell us a little bit about how these vehicles will be starting today's race.
Jerry, these vehicles will be starting one every 45 seconds. The reason we do that is because it's environmentally safe.
We want to minimize traffic out into the desert.
What we like to do is keep all the environmentalists happy, and we also like to keep the racers happy. So we do that, and it gives them an interval, and they have some actually dust-free time to race.
Well, Steve Kelly now ready to get the green flag, and he is on his way in today's American Racing Custom Wheel 250, headed out past the main pit area. Most of the vehicles will be doing their pitting right here, won't they, Danny?
Yeah, most of them will be doing it here in the main pit area. This is one of 6 pit areas, but we have controlled pit areas because of the environment, and also because that way everybody knows where everybody's pitting at.
Well, here's Larry Ragland ready to get the green flag, and he'll be headed out after Steve Kelly here in just a few moments. There he goes, Larry Ragland, underway. Now, you mentioned that there are several pit areas around here. Used to be you could pit anywhere you wanted, but that kind of made a mess in the desert, didn't it?
Sure did, Jerry. The way we pit now is we designate pit areas and designate spectator areas, and that way we keep the impact to the certain areas that we're pitting in.
With as many vehicle races as they have out here in this Johnson Valley area, you have to be rather sensitive to not tearing the place apart.
That's correct. You know, you don't want to just allow everybody to go everywhere and go helter-skelter. We try and run a controlled race, and that's what we do here.
Well, here's Larry Ragland. He's running just a few seconds behind Steve Kelly now. On the clock, they're probably about pretty even at the moment because they do race against the clock rather than each other, although they do like to pass each other, don't they?
Oh, yeah. They enjoy passing and they enjoy dicing it out. That's the real thing of off-road racing.
When they get up close to each other, then they forget about the clock, and they just, it's like they started right side by side.
Well, I can tell you right now they forgot about the clock. They've got their foot down, and they have no idea what the starting sequence is.
Well, back at the start line, later starters going out. Now, this is Evan Evans, the son of Walker Evans, and he is driving the first vehicle off the line in the Sport Utility class. Right behind him, there goes Kurt Ledoux, and he is the second vehicle off the line in this class. There's a good 3-vehicle race shaping up between Evans, Kurt Ledoux, and this man, Danny Ashcraft, and the 3 of them are now headed out into the desert. Let's take a look inside now with Danny Ashcraft's BF Goodrich in-car camera, and an interesting contrast here with some of the other vehicles we'll be seeing today, just how rough it is for this vehicle out here, isn't it?
Yeah, take a look here. This is what we call our Class 6, our sports utility vehicles. You can see it's going pretty fast, pretty smooth ride, and as you'll see later on today, there's some other vehicles that don't give you that quite smooth ride.
Here's Dale White headed out off the start line. He is the first vehicle off the line in the short wheelbase 4-wheel drive class, and right behind him is his main competition. This is Mike Leslie in the Jeep Cherokee.
If this is not confusing enough, these 2 vehicles, the vehicle you saw before and this one, are identical, and they switched drivers this year for different classes.
Well, here now is a look inside with Larry Ragland's vehicle going out on the course, heading right into the rising sun this morning. They race out here in the early hours of the daytime so they can beat the heat. They got a wonderful day for racing, but it's a little bit brutal on the drivers right now to have to be staring right into the sun, and it can make for a little bit of excitement out here as they go over some of these bumps at times with sun blindness, the major problem at this point.
Oh, yeah, and if you look, they're going through some big holes in here, and the wheel travel in Larry Ragland's vehicle is just incredible.
Back at the start line, more vehicles going off. These are the slower classes. This is the 1-2-1600 class, and that is Brian Parkhouse, the first vehicle off the line today.
Yeah, Jerry, these are one of our competitive classes, boy. These guys will run within seconds of each other. They'll be 15 or 20 at the finish line, just real close.
Brad Inch gets the green flag, headed out behind Brian Parkhouse, and here is Barry Cavanaugh. Met a little bit earlier today. Barry is racing with our in-car camera, and we can take a look as Barry goes off the start line at just how different it is between his vehicle and Danny Ashcraft's and Larry Ragland's. It's quite a ride.
Yeah, Jerry, if you look here, the one thing to look at is the steering wheel straight, but look at his head, boy. He's really getting a beating through this area. This area, the last two guys, Danny Ashcraft and Larry Ragland, went through here at about 90 miles an hour, and Barry Cavanaugh here is going through at about 35, 40 miles an hour, and he's fighting it all the way. He has about 12 inches of wheel travel. Larry Ragland has about 29, 30 inches of wheel travel. That's the difference, and the difference is money here.
Now, Barry's feeling every bump, but hey, he's having a great time.
I tell you what, these guys have a real good time, and it's real competitive in this class. Like I said, they come to the finish line. If we start them 45 seconds apart, usually 45 seconds apart, and it's usually a race over to the timing man to see who won the race.
I'll tell you, the guy who gets the winner's trophy in this class knows he's accomplished something. Here now, up among the leaders, this is Steve Kelly, still out in front of Larry Ragland, and it sounds like that big GMC Sierra is running perfectly at the moment. But close behind. He's closed up some time now. This is Larry Ragland. We'll have some more close racing right after this.
For 65 grand, this Corvette ZR1 comes with anti-lock brakes, a 3-year, 36,000-mile bumper-to-bumper warranty, and a roadside assistance program. For under 9 grand, this Cavalier VL also comes with anti-lock brakes, the warranty, the roadside assistance program. And, unlike the Vet, has this handy cup holder. Hey, 65 grand for the Vet and no slide-out cup holder? I'd go for the Cavalier.
Morning in central Mexico. The familiar tolling of the cathedral bells announces the start of a new day. A day that brings the exciting news. The American has returned. He's returned to buy some of the world's finest citrus fruits for our fantastic Hanson's natural soft drinks. Delicious mandarin lime, mouth-watering grapefruit. It's Hanson's, the taste worth searching for.
Back at the American Racing Custom Wheel 250, this is Jerry Garrett along with Danny Coe, and we're inside now with Larry Ragland Chevrolet, going up a very steep hill here and looking right into that morning sun.
Yeah, and he's running through the roughest section of the course in here. Just look at the truck bounce up and down. It's amazing through the big rocks and boulders. He's down to 15 miles an hour through this area.
Is this kind of like braille driving?
Yeah, it's like braille driving, but you try not to run over the rocks in this area. As you see, he just went through some arrows that tell him where to go in this area.
Now, the drivers don't get to see the course at all before the race actually happens, do they?
No, not at all, Jerry. They get one look at it in a publicity run, which is at controlled speed, but not at race speed, not at all.
So all this is a big surprise for him, really.
Basically, it's a big surprise, and if you notice, he's doing a real good job through this area. He's going a little slow, but he's taking his time.
Well, farther on up the course, into the sunshine now, this is Steve Kelly. He's still out in front of Larry Ragland, but Ragland is closing in on him very rapidly. As a matter of fact, here is Ragland right now, just about 8 or 9 seconds behind is all.
Yeah, and you can hear him get on the gas for this area. He's moving a little faster than Steve Kelly is at this point.
Well, let's take a look now at the leader in the unlimited mini pickup class. This is Rayson Gardner.
Yeah, Jerry, he's running a 6-cylinder engine in this class, and as you can see, he's not going as fast as Larry is, but it's still moving pretty good through that area.
Well, here's a guy that is moving really well through this area. This is Evan Evans there in the big yellow Chevrolet, and he has just passed Rod Hall and has set his sights now on Rayson Gardner, and he continues to lead the sport utility class, but not by much, because close behind him, Kurt Ledoux running a very quick second. Here is Kurt Ledoux. He's about 20 seconds behind after having started about 45 seconds behind, so he's closing the gap very quickly on him and Evan Evans. And close behind Kurt Ledoux, here's Danny Ashcraft.
Yeah, Jerry, you notice how Kurt came through there, and Danny's taking a little bit conservative role in this area, but I think it may pay off for him in the long run.
You can go a little bit more conservatively through some of these areas and actually go through them quicker, can't you?
That's exactly right. As you notice, Kurt was getting a little sideways and going what seemed a little bit faster, but maybe not. It seemed like Danny went through that area a little bit quicker.
Well, here's Danny Ashcraft passing Rod Hall. Now he's coming up upon Rayson Gardner. Apparently Kurt Ledoux and Evan Evans have already passed these two vehicles, and they're well ahead of them on the course now, and Danny Ashcraft is trying to stay in close contact with the two vehicles in front of him. Now here is Dale White, still the leader in the short wheelbase, full-size four-wheel drive class, driving a Chevrolet built by Don Adams, who is a former champion many times over in this class. And Mike Leslie closing in rapidly now on Dale White, and there could be a pass in that class for the lead very soon.
Yeah, Mike was going real fast through that area for the vehicle that he's in.
Well, here now is Brian Parkhouse. He's still out front in the 1-2-1600 class, but he has got some close competition from Brad Inch.
These guys run within each other's dust all day long through this area. As you can see, we got lucky, and it's not a real dusty day here.
Well, very quick through this area. Barry Cavanaugh, and he looks like he's putting some pressure on the two vehicles in front of him.
Yeah, he's really moving fast. I don't know if that in-car camera has psyched him out a little bit.
Got a little bit of adrenaline flowing there.
Boy, I tell you what, Jerry, I don't know if I'd want to have breakfast and then go in this race car. Boy, he's really getting a beating in here. But as you can see, the difference between Larry Ragland's vehicle and Barry Cavanaugh's vehicle. Just a world of difference. Although this vehicle, believe it or not, runs really good through this area. You know, imagine taking the family cruiser, the station wagon through this area. I don't think so.
I think it'd wad it up in a ball in about 100 yards, wouldn't it?
Oh, God. You couldn't, you know, Barry's even going 15, 20 miles an hour through this area, and look how much everything's bouncing around. Like I said, I don't know. I'm getting a little sick watching this.
Well, you designed the course, so I'm sure that Barry Cavanaugh has some choice thoughts for you right now.
Oh, some of these guys, I think, they have some choice thoughts for me all the time. One of the things we like to do is make our courses challenging.
Well, you can see the difference now. Here's a comparison. Larry Ragland driving what seems to be a Cadillac compared to that 1-2-1600 car.
Yeah, and he's caught up to Steve Kelly, boy, and he's moving right along. Hopefully Steve will move over. Yeah, good job, Steve.
That's the code of the road. Move over if you're going to get past. If you don't get out of the way, I guess that's grounds for getting thumped out of the way.
Yeah, we've had a problem with that, too. A lot of guys don't get out of the way, and then they get hit, and they complain about it.
Well, you got to have your eyes on the road ahead as well as in the rearview mirror.
Yeah, if you'll notice here from this great helicopter shot, Jerry, you'll see a flashing yellow light. It's actually not flashing, but you can see it every now and then. And when it's dusty, that light penetrates through the dust so that when you come up on somebody, you can see it, as you can see it in there. Obviously, today we don't need what we call our rear collision lights because it's not dusty at all. We had a great day for racing.
Well, we're getting a good idea here of the margin now between Larry Ragland and Steve Kelly. Steve Kelly doing a good job of powering through here in an older truck. This is a couple years older model than the model that Larry Ragland's driving, and Ragland has the advantage of some newer technology.
Oh, yeah. Steve's still doing a great job through this area. Larry's putting on some time on him, but not a lot. You know, Steve's within striking distance. Larry has a problem. He takes him back over and back into first place.
Well, we've had a lead change now in the full-size pickup class. Can Larry Ragland hold on? We'll see right after this.
I've been racing since about 1933.
Uh-huh.
And I care about this truck.
Right.
I really care about this truck. I choose Citgo SuperGuard because I build these engines to win. You know how I want you to drive this truck.
Hard and fast?
Hard and fast. You can't buy a better motor oil.
In case you need to push your truck, Yokohama high-performance light truck tires.
Back at the American Racing Custom Wheels 250, this is Jerry Garrett along with Danny Coe, and we're watching the leader of the Sport Utility class, Evan Evans. Close behind Evan Evans, though, here is Kurt Ledoux, and he is passing Wayne Lee, who's running in the Unlimited Mini Pickup class. Now there is no one between Kurt Ledoux and Evan Evans. A good close battle here in the Sport Utility class today, and Danny Ashcraft is making it a 3-vehicle race. Here comes Danny Ashcraft, and he has his Ford Explorer running strong.
This is a good tight race in our Class 6 Sports Utility Vehicle class.
That was a class that looked like it might die out a few years ago.
Oh, yeah, and all the manufacturers decided to come in real strong and heavy with their sport utility vehicles, and it's been good marketing for them.
Yeah, well, that's what they're selling in Detroit these days, is sport utility vehicles. Here's another look at Rayson Gardner going by, and he's having a race with Wayne Lee, who is out in front of him in this class at the moment. Now here is Mike Leslie. He's gotten past Dale White. Dale was going a little bit slower, but also had some mechanical troubles, and he's sidelined at the moment. So Mike Leslie running alone out in front in the full-size short wheelbase four-wheel drive class. Here's Brian Parkhouse now going past, and right behind him, Brad Inch, very, very close in the 1-2-1600 class. And now here comes Barry Kavanaugh. So it's a three-vehicle race.
These guys are running super close, and like we said before, these guys will do this all day long. They'll run with each other's dust, even though we don't have dust here, but they're that close.
Well, here is Scott Webster up on two wheels as he goes through here, and it looks like he lost something off that vehicle, a fan belt perhaps. Well, let's take a look now at the replay of that. What is it that's coming off that engine?
Looks like it's a fan belt, and even though that's an air-cooled engine, he won't go very far without that fan belt.
Well, more vehicles in the 1-2-1600 battle here. This is John Tanklage. He gets very wide on that corner, gives our photographer a bit of a scare, and he gets passed by Andy Sticks. Now here's our sport utility class vehicle leader. This is Evan Evans. We have a moment here we can tell you that Evan is actually a paraplegic, and he drives with motorcycle hand controls.
Yeah, one of the nice things about racing is you can test out new ideas that you have in racing conditions, and if you know they work in racing conditions, obviously they'll work for the average person on the street.
Well, Evan doing a very good job there with hand controls and staying just out in front of Kurt Ledoux in a very close battle in our sport utility class.
These guys are running super fast for this area, upwards of 100 to 110 miles an hour in this area.
Well, here's the third vehicle in that race. This is Danny Ashcraft, and he's got his foot to the floor.
Yeah, he's running across one of the 3 dry lakes that we have on this race course today.
And I guess they can all hit well over 100 miles an hour on these dry lakes.
Yeah, and thank God that they're dry. A couple days ago, they weren't.
A lot of rain in this area, and that's a problem for Brad Inch, who had just taken over the lead in the 1-2-1600 class. Came down a hill there. I guess it's off camber.
He keeps on trying to go there. I can't believe he's hit that big rock and he keeps trying to go.
Well, he's got himself high centered, and one of the problems with the 1-2-1600 vehicle that he's got no co-driver, so if he's going to get out of there, he's got to do it himself. There goes Brian Parkhouse back into the lead.
Yeah, he's got to have some damage on the front torsion tubes in there. I can't believe he hit a rock that big and not have some damage. But it looks like he's okay. He's getting out.
Well, he's trying to fix things here. I know he'd like to get back in it, but like Danny says, he's got to have a major problem there mechanically in the front of that vehicle.
Yeah, you just don't hit a big rock like that and send it off into the desert without any problems. He's getting past here again. He's now first to third.
Well, Barry Kavanaugh moves up a position, now second. Here is Mike Leslie. He has just gotten going again after stopping to check out something. I thought they might have a flat tire, but turns out they didn't, and now they've got a different problem. This is co-driver Byron Rexwinkle trying to do something there on the passenger side door.
He's got some problems in there. I don't know what he's doing. It looks like the door's opening up on him. It looks like he has a problem with that door.
Well, some of these vehicles have the door welded shut, but this one actually works like a door, and it doesn't seem like they can get it shut again after getting going, after checking whatever was they thought the problem was there. Yeah, you can see Byron's hand out the door. I guess he's trying to tie wrap the thing.
He's trying to do something there. This is real unusual that they'd have this type of problem. The truck's running really good, and they have the door not close on them. Jeez. You know, it's kind of like going down the freeway and your kid opens the door on you. Mike's got to be sitting over there just wanting to yell at him, you know. I don't know. Maybe he's trying to get out. Maybe he doesn't like it in there.
Stranger things have happened.
Boy, that's unfortunate. Mike's really driving a good race here.
Well, he's got to slow down a little bit because I don't think Byron's got his seatbelts fastened up the way they should be. A little farther back now, here's Barry Kavanaugh. He's right behind Mike Leslie, and over there on the far left, that's Brian Parkhouse, who was leading the 1-2-1600 class, and he's apparently gotten lost, and Barry Kavanaugh has taken over the position, and he now leads his class in the American Racing Custom Wheels 250. More after this.
3 reasons not to buy BF Goodrich TA tires. The only rocky road you can handle comes in a sugar cone. You think Baja is when you're laughing on the outside but crying on the inside. You believe competition fosters antisocial behavior. BF Goodrich TA tires for the rest of us.
There they go. For the thrills of the nighttime, it's the West's best harness racing action live from Los Alamitos Racecourse every Wednesday through Saturday night. One prize admission includes parking and program. And back this year, the Twin Trifecta, where a $2 investment can earn you over $100,000. And if you can't go to the track, watch and wager on harness racing at Hollywood Park and all nighttime satellite locations in California. Los Alamitos Racecourse on Catella Avenue near the 605 freeway. Be an instant winner in the $50,000 cash giveaway. You can win at our place just for showing up. Post time 7 p.m.
Don't miss the 14th annual preseason ski sale and sports expo this weekend only at the Anaheim Convention Center. It's better than ever with rollerblade action, championship volleyball, and an indoor 8-hole golf course. And ski buys, top name skis, top name ski boots, top name bindings. And you'll save up to 80% on this year's fashion ski clothes. Admission is free. You may win a trip for 2 to Park City, and you'll ski mountain high for half price with a $150 purchase. It's this weekend only at the Anaheim Convention Center, and it's a Sunland production.
The champion, Evander Holyfield. The challenger, Riddick Bowe, tonight at 10 on the press box.
Back at the American Racing Custom Wheel 250, this is Jerry Garrett along with HDRA President Danny Coe. And we're watching Bob Ritchie go through one of the treacherous little jumps on this course that can be a real gotcha.
Yeah, Bob's the first guy on the course through this area. And as you see, Gary Himes coming through this area at the same speed just about. Ooh, he had to have broken something. Boy, you just noticed Bob go through there, and Gary saw it a little too late and slammed on his brakes. I don't know, that right front wheel doesn't look right.
Well, we mentioned there's lots of surprises on this course, and here is one of them. We'll take a look at it on the replay. Looks like he might have broken something in the suspension on that right front.
Yeah, you can just see all the dirt come over the top.
Well, right now, here's Larry Ragland. He's the 3rd vehicle on the course, but on time, he's very close to the lead now because he's moved up through the ranks of the unlimited vehicles that start out in front of him. And you can see the difference how the trucks go through there with all that suspension travel. And that's why at the top of the show, we said that the unlimited pickups had a better chance to win this race overall than the unlimited buggies, and that's an indication why. Right now, here's Steve Holliday going through this area.
Ooh, no, the roof comes off. Boy, I know he's trying to get his width back together now. Looks like he's got it back together. His co-driver's wondering what he was doing, though.
Well, we mentioned that Steve Kelly is falling behind Larry Ragland, but the two of them are moving up through the unlimited buggies, and they are in the overall picture in this race, close to running 1-2. The buggy that's behind Steve Kelly belongs to Aaron Hawley, and he was out front in the unlimited buggy class until he had some kind of a problem, and it must have been a flat tire or something. Yeah, the spare tire carrier on top is empty, so he's had a flat and had to use that spare tire. Unfortunately, he's got a pit just up the road where he can get a fresh spare.
Here comes Ray Kroll. As you see him, you'll see how he takes this little road crossing here. Nice and smooth right across.
That's the way you're supposed to do it, but some of the drivers are, I guess, feeling their Cheerios this morning and trying to fly it.
I think what it is they come up and they can see across it. They don't think anything's there. They ignore the down arrows and think that there's nothing there.
Must be a little bit of an optical illusion. Well, here is the leader in the Baja Bug class. This is Neil Grabowski. You can see that the Baja Bug drivers take about as much punishment as the 1-2-1600 drivers.
Yeah, they've got a short wheelbase, and that's why they have the pounding that they do. Whoa! There's 3 ways to go through that hole there. One is to slow down and go nice and smooth. The other way is to hit the backside, and the last way is just to fly it.
Dental work is in order for the guys that try to fly it, I guess.
Yeah, something else under your seat, probably a diaper or something, in case you miss. You're going end over end if you miss.
Well, into the pits now. Here's Gary Himes, and we saw him earlier have that problem in that ditch. And there's evidently something wrong on the right front suspension of that vehicle.
Yeah, they're working on it. He just hit that hole too hard to have nothing happen.
Well, the crew's calling for tools, so they evidently have some work to do on that right front. That's going to knock him out of the overall picture in this race, and he was very close to the lead on time, if not in the lead on time.
Yeah, Jeff Quinn's getting in, you know, and it's tough to get in a vehicle when everybody's working on it. You don't know what's wrong or what's happening. As you see Gary looking at the vehicle.
Gary is a stunt driver. He's the exclusive stunt man for Steven Spielberg's movies, and that takes up a lot of his time, and when he gets a chance, he loves to come out here and off-road race, but he doesn't get to race as much as he'd like to. Another look inside now with Larry Ragland, and he is coming into the start-finish line checkpoint. He is completing the first of his 2 laps around this course, and he's got to stop here, get his number written down. There's a traffic light there. When that turns to green, he can go again.
He needs to go. I wonder if he's having problems or if...
Well, the vehicle turned itself off there, didn't it?
Yeah, it sure did.
Well, he's moving again now. Sometimes a little scary to get a hot engine running again once it stalls, but he's headed for what we think will be his one and only pit stop today. At least he hopes it will be. Here he is in the Nelson and Nelson Racing pits. You can see just on up ahead there, under that awning, they're still working on Gary Himes' buggy.
This should only be Larry's only pit stop of the day. He just takes on 40 gallons of fuel here, and he should be able to make it all the way around. Looks like a routine stop.
Well, they're changing the rear tires, putting some new rubber on there just as a precaution. Doesn't seem to be any problem with the front tires. They're not even going to bother to change those.
They just make a quick inspection of everything, just see what they've got. Once each crew member does his own job, he lifts his hands up, so that way they know he's not underneath.
One crew member with a signboard out there holding Larry until all the work is completed. And I guess right now they're just waiting for the rest of the fuel to go in. That takes longer than anything else on these stops, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sure does. To load 40 gallons of fuel, it does take quite a time.
Well, you want them to be able to handle fuel safely, though, don't you?
Oh, yeah. It's real dangerous if they start dumping gas in from everywhere. That's why we have one guy just dumping the gas. Everybody does their own job.
Well, Larry stalled it again. The engine quit. Hope that's not a problem for him.
I hope it's not. Well, it doesn't look like it's a problem now. Boy, the foot's to the floor. A little bit different of a ride than the Barry Cavanaugh 1/2-1600 going through here.
Yeah, we saw the same comparison on the first lap there with Barry Cavanaugh. This is a Cadillac, although it says Chevrolet on the side. More racing from the Mojave Desert right after this.
The technology developed on the track for the awesome 650 horsepower Lumina NASCAR champion goes into cars like this. The 1992 twin dual cam V6 Chevy Lumina Z34. Sorry, decals not included. Chevy Lumina Z34 from the heartbeat of America. And now it's easy to win with a heartbeat.
Richard Petty, the only driver ever to win 200 Winston Cup races, all on champion spark plugs.
Jerry, your help out here really does make a difference in the way I run.
Well, Richard, this is our testing ground. It makes a difference in the way we build our spark plugs, too.
They work for me in both my cars, whether I'm racing or going home. I depend on champion spark plugs.
Champion, no matter what you drive.
The Bill Strop Racing Team is a well-oiled machine. It's how they work, it's how they win in tough desert racing. To beat the heat and the dust, they choose Citgo SuperGuard motor oil. Citgo SuperGuard delivers extended protection.
Look for it the next time you change your oil.
How's it going? Well, straight through.
It's not what you imagined. Forget what you expected. Transport yourself into a world like no other. Sit here and experience the all-out thrill of stadium off-road racing. It's fast-paced action. It's slam-bang excitement. It's the high-flying fun of racing's most spectacular show. It's Mickey Thompson Off-Road Grand Prix.
Las Vegas Silver Bowl, October 3rd. Tickets at Ticketmaster and Thomas and Mack Center.
Jerry Garrett and Danny Coe back with you at the American Racing Custom Wheels 250. And this is Danny Ashcraft, who is now leading the Sport Utility class. Kurt Ledoux and Evan Evans, who were out in front of him earlier, have fallen by the wayside. And the conservative approach that Danny Ashcraft decided to take that we mentioned earlier is starting to pay off for him. And he's also moving up to the overall picture in this race. He's well in the top 10, and he's still having a good battle with Kurt Ledoux. And a matter of fact, here comes Kurt Ledoux passing Frank Turbin as they go through this ditch, and this could get exciting. Whoa, he locks it up there just at the last minute.
He's trying to make some time up. He's trying to get up and get by Danny Ashcraft there.
Well, he was ahead of him. He had to stop for something. Apparently it wasn't a flat tire because he's still got a spare on that carrier in the back there. Right now, here comes Rayson Gardner, and he is the first vehicle in the unlimited mini pickup class that we've seen come by here.
Yeah, he must have got by Wayne Lee somewhere.
Well, Wayne apparently had a problem. Rayson gets a little air as he goes through there. In the pit on up ahead, there's apparently a problem, though, for Steve Kelly. Let's go talk to his team owner, Dave Westham, and see what's wrong.
What we've done this race is we're running a rear coil spring that's about 450 pounds per square inch. That's the strength. The springs we have right here are 1,000 pounds per square inch. What's happening is we don't have enough spring rate, so we're bottoming out constantly. So when Steve gets into the rough, he's got to back out of it. What we'd like to do is make a spring change to see what the stronger spring does, but the problem is we're running 6-7 minutes behind Larry Ragland, and we don't want to take the time to make that change. That change would take 30 minutes. So what we'll do is after the race, we'll go up to Sidewinder Road, we'll get these springs in the car and do our testing.
Well, 30 minutes on the sidelines is a luxury you don't have in a race this short. Here is Steve Kelly now coming into his pits for what would be his only pit stop of the day. As Dave Weston mentioned, he is only about 5 or 6 minutes behind Larry Ragland at this point.
Yeah, to take the 30 minutes here could mean costing them the race. If Larry has a problem, 30 minutes not going to be enough time.
Well, in a race like the Baja 1000, it goes on for 24 hours. 30 minutes is almost nothing. But
in a 200-mile sprint race, 30 minutes is an eternity. They're just going through some checks, getting it some fuel.
Tightening something up on the rear there. Don't think there's anything major wrong with the vehicle. They want to get in and out of here in a minute or less.
This guy wants him to get out less than a minute.
That's Steve Kelly. He's having a great run in this truck. Dave Weston giving him some instructions, telling him what the margin is between him and Larry Ragland. There's Randy Salmon adding a little bit of oil to the dry sump. Apparently used a little oil, but I don't think there's a major problem there.
No, that dry sump holds 20 quarts. Shouldn't be a problem.
And Steve Kelly back underway with a fairly decent pit stop. Still close behind Larry Ragland. And look who now is up into the overall picture, into the top 5. This is Danny Ashcraft, and that Ford Explorer is really moving.
God, he is moving through this area.
Well, so is he. That's Kurt Ledoux.
That's why he's moving through that area. Well, you can see Kurt coming up in his mirror.
I was just leaving.
Well, this is Barry Kavanaugh's pits, and his team is trying to communicate with him now.
Something is loose.
Just something to drink. She's got it all.
Okay, something to drink.
That's one of the things, Jerry.
Okay.
A lot of water in a desert race. You can get dehydrated real quick.
Well, here comes Barry Cavanaugh. He's running very well. As we mentioned earlier, he is now leading the 1-2-1600 class for these limited engine buggies, and he's coming into the pits for what should be his only pit stop of the day, or what he hopes is his only pit stop of the day.
Just checking the lug nuts there.
Those tend to loosen up when you bounce around a couple 100,000 times per lap.
Yeah, you don't want your right front tire coming off when you're bouncing around. It's not fun.
Everything seems to be fairly routine here. They're adding a dump can of fuel. We mentioned that Larry Ragland took on 40 gallons.
Should take on 20 gallons for Barry here. The 1600 engine doesn't use much gas. Obviously, it doesn't go as fast either, but they get pretty good gas mileage. Looks like everything's all right. They're just checking the lug nuts. Doesn't seem to be any major problems.
Barry trying to communicate a little bit with his crew there. Okay, they're telling him they're all done, and there goes Barry Cavanaugh, still with the lead in his class. Here's a look now at the top 10 overall in the American Custom Wheels 250 after the first lap. We'll be back for more right after this.
I'm Al Troutwig, inviting you to join us each week for Coors Sports Forum. We won't have scores and stats, we won't have prizes behind door number 1, and we won't have any home videos, just good solid chit-chat with the people who make news and tell the stories that makes the world of sports unique. Why did they do what they did, and what were they thinking when they did it? Some faces you'll recognize immediately, some are soon to be famous. Others will make you ask the question, where have they been? Join us this week for Coors Sports Forum and learn something you didn't know last week.
It's showtime. Showtime. Hey! Whoa!
Outdrive your partner with this half-hour instructional video, free with a 1-year subscription to Golf Digest, just $19.77. Call 800-932-1400. Imagine, the video and Golf Digest. Call 800-932-1400.
Back at the American Racing Custom Wheels 250, this is Bob Ritchie going past us. I'm Jerry Garrett, along with HDRA President Danny Coe. And right now, Bob Ritchie is the #1 vehicle on this course.
Yeah, he's got a Porsche-powered vehicle. It's sounding really good.
Well, I don't know how long he's going to manage to stay out in front, though, because here is Larry Ragland in that big Chevrolet, and he has really been turning out some powerful times here.
Larry's just run an absolute perfect day.
Well, that's not uncommon for the Nelson and Nelson Chevrolet. They have a phenomenal finishing record, especially since Larry Ragland got in this truck last year.
Just look at the vehicle work through this area. He's running between 30 and 70 miles an hour. He's running right through the holes. Up in the air, it's like a roller coaster ride without the rails.
I don't think there's any vehicle out here that can do what this vehicle is doing.
or wants to do what he's doing after seeing that last shot. Boy, running really good through there. Just 10, 12 feet of air.
One tiny mistake, though, and you can go end over end in a hurry. But Larry Ragland, one of the best drivers in this sport. Before the race, we took a behind-the-scenes look at Nelson and Nelson Racing and to see what they do to get vehicles ready to come out here and be this competitive. Nelson and Nelson Racing in Hemet, California is by no means the biggest or best financed team in off-road, but owner John Nelson thinks he's found a better way to go about racing.
Well, I believe that's because we're more organized. We are able to stay much more focused. Everything's right here, and consequently we're able to offer Chevrolet and BF Goodrich more bang for the buck.
Well, quite a bang it's been, as this room full of trophies can attest. Besides dozens of wins in individual races, there have also been plenty of class championships and some overall championships as well. But don't be fooled by the size of the shops. They have everything they need right here. A well-stocked parts and assembly area, special tools like all the latest Trek onboard computers, even a shock dyno. They even have their own test track, but John says that all this is just hardware without the right people.
Basically, I think that we give our guys a lot of guidance and leadership, and consequently, we take these people who work for us and they really, really perform. We try and get the most out of our people, and they're very much a part of our program, and they know that, and they try and they excel very well. I enjoy the technical challenge of off-road racing. Being able to have hands-on experience working on the cars, designing the cars, it's all pretty thrilling. I started out as a fabricator, and that's my trade actually, is fabrication. And obviously the business has grown to the size now to where I'm not able to get out in the shop too often, but I'll get out there in the trenches once in a while and, you know, put the hammer down with the guys for a while.
Well, with a success ratio like few others in the off-road business, what is Nelson and Nelson Racing looking for in the future?
Well, we want to stay in off-road racing. Maybe get a little more diverse, maybe do some Pikes Peak stuff. Wherever it goes, we'll see where it goes, but we like off-road racing. We know off-road racing. I'm still able to spend weekends with my family, which I enjoy, and I don't think I want to go IndyCar racing or or where I'm going to be gone every weekend. Off-road racing provides us with a real nice schedule, and we're good at it.
Larry Ragland is now the first vehicle on the course as Bob Ritchie has fallen by the wayside with mechanical problems.
Larry's just flying through this area, as you saw. You'd think he was trying to catch someone.
Well, here's the guy that's trying to catch him. This is Steve Kelly. Kelly doing a pretty doggone good job with a truck that's a few years older than Larry Ragland's truck.
It's not too bad. He hasn't had a lot of wheel time behind this vehicle, but he's doing a great job.
Well, Steve has a lot of respect in this sport as one of the best drivers out here, and he's back in the full-size two-wheel drive pickup class after several years of driving a four-wheel drive with a lot of success there, too. Here now is Larry Ragland coming into one of the checkpoints around the course. And Danny, explain the checkpoint procedures here.
Each vehicle, as it comes into the checkpoint, is logged in, and then that vehicle number is then transferred back to the start-finish line. Then we have a roving log of where all the vehicles are at all times on the racetrack.
Well, now here into the overall picture is Danny Ashcraft having a good drive today in the sport utility class. Evan Evans, the early leader, is on the sidelines. Danny out in front of Kurt Ledoux, but it's a very close race still. And here comes Kurt, and he is on the gas trying to make up some time. He's spectacular.
Yeah, he sure is. He's driving a great race, actually. He just lost a little bit of time.
Well, he can make it up quick driving the way he's doing right now. All those vehicles up in the top 5 overall. Here's a vehicle that's knocking on the door of the top 5 overall. This is the Baja Bug of Lisa Dickerson and Scott Cameron. Right now, we want to show you an incident that happened a little earlier in the race. This has momentarily cost us the services of my broadcast partner, Danny Coe, the HDRA president, who was called aside to rule on whether this was an infraction or not. This is Larry Ragland attempting to pass Tom Burns. And as you can see, Larry follows Tom for quite a while here, and Tom doesn't get out of his way. We mentioned earlier in the show that the code of the road is to move over if you're going to get passed. If you don't move over, you could get tapped. And that's exactly what happened to Tom Burns. Tom said he received some damage that knocked him out of the race, and he wasn't too happy about it. But Danny Coe ruled this was a clean pass. We're getting down to the end of the American Racing Custom Wheel 250. We'll have more after this.
The then in the NFL trial will tell you the results tonight in the press box at 10.
Which contact lens would you rather wear? One that's new once a year or one that's new every 2 weeks? SureView from Johnson & Johnson. Imagine, fresh new lenses every 2 weeks. And a year only costs about what you pay now. SureView.
Call Dr. Wes Coates for an appointment, and if SureView or AccuView is right for you, your first pair is free. In addition, most classes can be ready in 1 hour without the 1 hour price tag. Call today for an appointment. Dr. Wes Coates, 549-4343, 1 block north of South Coast Plaza.
Your accident is no laughing matter. At the law offices of Robert Perkins, we take your injury seriously. Whether a personal injury or work-related accident, you are entitled to be fully compensated. Don't be a victim again. Use the law offices of Robert Perkins and let our 25 years of experience work for you. Call 1-800-696-4LAW. That's 1-800-696-4LAW.
By satellite or moonlight, it's the West's best harness racing action live from Los Alamitos Racecourse every Wednesday through Saturday night. One price admission includes parking and program, and back this year, the Twin Trifecta, where a $2 investment could earn you over $100,000. And don't forget, you can watch and wager on major thoroughbred racing from all over Southern California in the daytime via satellite. Los Alamitos Racecourse on Catella Avenue near the 605 freeway. On Friday or Saturday nights, be an instant winner in the $50,000 cash giveaway. You can win at our place just for showing up. Post time 7 p.m.
Back at the American Racing Custom Wheels 250, and this is Jerry Garrett along with HDRA President Danny Coe. We're taking a look at Larry Ragland, our overall leader. Just absolutely smoke his way across one of the dry lakes on the course. And Danny, how fast is he going through here?
Larry's going about 85, 90 miles an hour through this area, and as you can see, it's not exactly the smoothest area on this race course. 85 miles an hour through here is just absolutely incredible. The suspension's working great. He's having a great day.
A lot of our viewers would probably like to know what top speed would be on a vehicle like this.
Top speed on a vehicle like this across one of the dry lakes is about 110, 115 miles an hour. It just depends on how they gear it.
The buggies, they go a lot slower than that, don't they?
Buggies are about 90, 95 miles an hour, and they've got a little less wheel travel. The trucks here, like we said before, 26, 29 inches of wheel travel. Some of the really good buggies have about 20, 22 inches of wheel travel. And, you know, the extra speed and the extra wheel travel just makes a difference.
Well, you can see how smooth the ride it is here for Larry Ragland. Look at his hands on the steering wheel.
Just absolutely straight. Just pointing in the right direction, going.
Oh, now here's a problem we didn't want to see. This is Steve Kelly, and he's broken down. And he's off the side of the road, and there goes our great battle for the overall lead, I'm afraid. Well, let's see what the problem is. Looks like a ring and pinion. Oil coming out of that differential case. Let's talk to Steve Kelly and see what's the problem. Well, Steve, any way of salvaging things here?
Yeah, we're going to get it fixed. We're going to either put a ring and pinion or a whole new rear end in it. It's a race.
Had a good race going.
Not bad, not bad. For, you know, it's a brand new rear end, and we had no test time on it. The first time I ever got in the truck was this morning when we started, so we're happy enough with it.
You were running a second overall, I guess, when it happened.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. But we'll be there at Parker. Too bad.
Well, that is too bad, but Larry Ragland doesn't mind. He's got a free, clear sailing run now to the finish line of this race. He's coming up on the last checkpoint out here, and he will be nonstop from this point on all the way to the finish line.
He's got to be excited. His crew now knows that he went through the last checkpoint. It's been a great day.
You can see that yellow light on the back, trying to help people out for safe overtaking, but I don't think there's going to be any overtaking of Larry Ragland today. There goes third overall, first in the sport utility class, Danny Ashcraft, and right behind him, still, Kurt LeDuc cannot make up that time that he lost earlier. A very close race in the sport utility class. And fifth overall, Lisa Dickerson and Scott Cameron. What an outing for a Baja Bug.
They're running a great race.
Well, this guy is running the greatest race of all. This is Larry Ragland coming in now to the finish line. And boy, he's still on the gas.
He sure is. I wonder if he knows that Steve is broke down.
Well, he's not taking any chances. I think Larry knows one speed, and that's full speed ahead.
Checkered flag.
Well, now the waiting begins because the clock is going to decide whether anybody can catch Larry Ragland in this race. We'll have more from the American Racing Custom Wheel 250 right after this.
Splitfire earned a United States patent. It gets more out of every ounce of gasoline. Less efficient plugs waste gas. The patented Splitfire saves gas.
4 extra miles per gallon. A 4.8% gain in mileage. More complete combustion.
Stop wasting. Start saving with Splitfire. You'll get more mileage and more power or your money back. Get guaranteed Splitfire savings at leading automotive stores from coast to coast.
The performance of a Chevrolet is determined by many factors. We consider volumetric efficiency, coefficient of drag, yaw damping, polar moments of inertia, induction velocity, camber, caster, bounce, rebound, thermodynamic load, slip angles, linkage arrangements. And at Chevrolet, we also take into account the yeehaw factor.
The cars more people depend on.
3 reasons not to buy BF Goodrich TA tires. The only rocky road you can handle comes in a sugar cone. You think Baja is when you're laughing on the outside but crying on the inside. You believe competition fosters antisocial behavior. BF Goodrich TA tires for the rest of us.
Well, Larry Ragland is the winner of the American Racing Custom Wheel 250. He has defeated his closest pursuer, Aaron Hawley, on the clock. Let's ask Larry why he flies so high.
There's not as many rocks up there. You don't hit near as many if you're up there.
Any problems in it?
Absolutely none. I mean, it was just a perfect race. I don't know I don't think we had, there's nothing. It just went around and around. Never missed a beat, no flats or anything. Really nice day to race. It was cool out, no dust. The cars that we caught just moved over real easy because they could see us coming, and wasn't any trouble. Anyway, Chevrolet and BF Goodrich did real well.
Well, Larry a little less excited than he drives, but here's the third place vehicle overall, and he's got to be excited. This is Danny Ashcraft. He's won the sport utility class. In the process, he's held off a charge by Kurt Ledoux, who was virtually on his rear bumper the entire second half of this race, and a great accomplishment for a sport utility vehicle to finish third overall. And here is a very frustrated Kurt Ledoux. He's fourth overall, but the big thing to him is he's second in his class, and that doesn't sit well with him at all. Good race, though. Well, let's take a moment now and take a look at our top 10 overall in the American Racing Custom Wheel 250. Ragland, Holly, Ashcraft, Ledoux, and Class 10 winner J.D. Ward. Second five, Danny?
Lisa Dickerson, Neil Grabowski, Danny Porter, Scott Webster, and Bob Ritchie.
Well, to see that Danny Porter is up in there means that our in-car camera vehicle with Barry Cavanaugh did not win this race. So evidently, Barry had some problems that kept him from winning out there. Now let's take a look at all the class winners in today's race. Congratulations to all them. It was a great race and a great outing in the Johnson Valley Off-Highway Vehicle Park. Well, before we go today, Danny Coe, I'd like to get your thoughts on today's race. We saw a great performance by Larry Ragland and his Chevrolet.
We saw a real good performance. Incredible to get the truck 10, 12 feet in the air, come down and just keep going and do that all day long. 200 miles of pounding, but the truck just seemed to run effortless.
Well, when you have that kind of performance, it's real tough and real demoralizing on the competition. We want to thank you today for joining us on the Prime Network for our Chevy Motorsports Hour telecast from the American Racing Custom Wheels 250. For Danny Coe, I'm Jerry Garrett. Thanks for joining us. This Prime Network Sports Exclusive has been brought to you by Chevrolet, the heartbeat of America. And by